Hey guys, Explorer4 here, Horrorboy465. Welcome back to some more reviews, and today I'm talking about the Blade films, which today I'm going to be reviewing the first movie, Blade. This will be the first review I'll be doing, but in this series we're talking about Blade 1, Blade 2, and Blade Trinity. Now, I know there's also a TV series starring Sticky Fingers, and I know there's also a anime. But I've seen the anime a few places. I've seen the Blade TV series in a 4-pack with the Blade movies. I remember what it was called, like House of something, like House of Blood, House of I don't remember, like House of something. But I did see it in a 4-pack with the Blade the Blade trilogy, the film trilogy. But I do know there's also an anime out there. There's also a TV series. You know, one day, I definitely want to check them out and see how they are. I definitely am interested in seeing them. So one day I'll definitely see those movies, or the anime and the TV show, and I'll definitely do reviews on them. But in this video, we're talking about one of my childhood favorite films. Yes, you heard that right. One of my childhood favorite films, Blade, starring Wesley Snipes. Now, Blade was based on the Marvel comic book. I believe it was a Marvel comic book. I believe it was a Marvel comic book. And it was based off of that. And these are all the New Line Platinum series. So I like how you can take this DVD and you can fold it out and you get all the pictures in there. You get some really cool stuff. Vampires. And that's towards the end of the movie where Blade goes into full rampage mode. And you have that scene right there where he's fighting Frost. And you have that scene there where he's feeding. And that's towards that's the dance scene right there. But some really, really cool stuff. I'm not really a big fan of the cardboard DVDs. Just personally not a fan of them. I know that The Exorcist has those cardboard DVDs. And Hitcher has a cardboard DVD. I'm just not a big fan of that because, you know, they get banged up pretty bad. I mean, you guys see like the creases right here, just really banged up. Even this part right here, you can see sort of like right there, some wear and tear. A lot of like cracks and, you know, bumps and stuff. And just, I hate the cardboard DVDs because they're not very durable. They get scratched up, they can get, you know, cut and stuff pretty easily. But anyways, you know, it does have a lot of features to it. Has access any scene in the movie directly from the early draft of the script. You have stuff like a commentary by Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, David S. Goyer, Thao Van de Sande, Kirk Petrucci, Peter Frankfurt, and you got some other stuff. You got where it's the complete score, I believe, where it's just the music, which the music in the movie is great. But yeah, you have a lot of really cool features. I just don't like the material they use for the DVD. I just wish it was a regular DVD, you know, without the cardboard stuff. Because they gave the sequels actual DVDs, which these are also New Line Platinum series as well. But they actually give them 2 discs and an actual DVD case. This one just got a cardboard, which, you know, I don't totally hate, but I'm just not a big fan of them. But Blade is a movie that I watched a lot as a kid. And that poster right there is awesome. You got Blade with this boomerang thing right there. He throws it and it chops vampires in half and heads off and stuff. Of course, the silver sword. Just, I'm a big fan of this movie. This is a movie that when I was a kid, I watched this, Blade 2, and Van Helsing. Those movies really showed me that, yeah, vampires are scary. And I was going to say this on a video I did, like the Cujo review, but I actually wasn't able to say this. I forgot to say it. But the Blade movies, like Blade 1 and 2, Trinity I didn't really grow up with. I caught it on Sci-Fi a few times. But mainly the first 2 in Van Helsing, the live-action movie. Those movies really showed me that you can fight back. You know, you can be scared of these things, but you can also fight back. And what I really enjoy about these movies is that, you know, Blade is just, you know, a classic action horror film. I think it blends action and horror perfectly. You have some creepy scenes, some unsettling scenes, but at the same time, you also got Blade causing mayhem, tearing vampires to shreds, chopping arms off, chopping heads off. At the end of the movie, it has this rampage, and it's just awesome. Takes this vampire, rips his throat out, and kicks this guy and like pushes him off to the side. Which I'll get to that a little bit later, but I just really enjoy this movie. This is a movie that when I had the VHS tape of this movie, I actually broke the film. I watched the VHS so many times that I actually broke the movie. So that's how much I watched this movie. This movie, The Matrix, and a few other films are like some of my favorite movies of all time. But I just watched this movie so many times that I broke the VHS tape. And then a couple years later, I don't know if this a couple years later, it was like years later, I bought the DVD pack. Well, I bought a DVD of the first movie, second movie, third movie. I found them all for a good price, so I decided to pick them all up. And it was a good purchase, good price. And the first movie is just classic. I really enjoy it. It's definitely my favorite of the films. Came out in 1998. It is 7.1 on IMDb, directed by Stephen Norrington, who sounds familiar. I believe he was special effects on Aliens and Alien 3, which Alien 3 I don't remember too much about. Honestly, I haven't seen Alien 3 in forever. Like, really forever. But really, he hasn't made that many movies. He's made Death Machine, The Last Minute, and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I've heard about that movie. I've heard about Death Machine, which I believe is a movie about this killer machine. Part human, part machine. Sounds interesting. Of course, did the effects on Aliens and stuff like that, which is really awesome. He also did these. He was a sculptor on Exorcist the beginning. He was a creature sculptor on Harbinger Down. Creature effects on Split Second. Special robotics technician on Hardware. Some really, really cool stuff. Definitely did a good job directing this movie. This movie has a great atmosphere to it. I love the dark techno score to it. This sort of really great late 90s, really, really great time for techno. And I'm a big fan of techno and electronic dance music and stuff like that. I also like rock and stuff, and I do listen to rap. I listen to a little bit of everything. So in this movie, you got some really great songs, some really great techno EDM. Dark techno EDM. I really enjoy the music that plays during the party scene at the beginning of the movie, where everybody's dancing and the blood sprays out of the ceiling on that club. Really enjoy that song. That dun 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 dun. Just really enjoy that. I also love the idea of just this character Blade being a vampire, but also to where he's half vampire, half human. Basically, when he was born, his mother was bitten by a vampire, and it made him immune to sunlight, immune to silver, but he still has the thirst. And they gave him the name Daywalker, the vampire who cannot die during the day. And just a really, really cool look. I mean, the silver sword, this silver boomerang that he has stakes, he has, like, the trademark tattoos, the really, really cool, like, steel or silver vest he wears, using the UV lights and stuff like that, and being able to use pistols and really cool weapons in the movie. Just really, really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the set design. Really enjoyed the look of the movie. Really enjoyed the direction. Really enjoyed the cast. You've also got, not only do you have Wesley Snipes, but you also have Stephen Dorff, who was in that movie, was it Fear.com? Was it called Fear.com? I gotta see here real quick. That movie is it's gonna drive me crazy. Yeah, Fear.com, which gets a very low rating on IMDb. It gets a 3.3, but I seen it a long time ago. Which I really don't remember it that much. I seen it a long time ago. But I remember seeing that poster and thinking it looked pretty interesting, but it gets a very low rating on IMDb. But you also got Stephen Dorff playing Frost. Does a great job playing the character Deacon Frost. Great job. You also got Chris Christopherson, who would also be in Blade 2 and Blade 3. So he's in all the Blade movies. He plays Whistler, sort of Blade's mentor, taught him the ways of how to kill vampires and how to fight the thirst with this artificial thirst that they made for Blade so it doesn't kill people. Just really, really enjoyed that aspect. I like the idea that Blade hunts down these vampires, and these vampires, they all operate by these different symbols. Deacon Frost's symbol is on the back of this guy's neck, and he's like, Deacon Frost, been hunted for a long time. And just really enjoy it. The story is pretty straightforward. I mean, you got Blade, he's this vampire hunter. You got Deacon Frost, who has this plan to become a vampire god in a way. You have the powers of a vampire god. And his plan is to take out the leader of this vampire cult and him to become the new leader and do this sacrifice to get all the different leaders of the vampires together to make the god, which would be in the form of Stephen Dorff's character, Frost, Deacon Frost. And Blade has to figure out how to stop him. He needs Blade. Blade is sort of the key to this, so he sort of wants Blade to try and stop him. And Deacon Frost is just a great enemy. He shows that, he's not just a weak vampire. I mean, he plans things out. He makes sure that, he's not going to get in any sort of harm's way. Just a very sneaky individual, very, just not able to get caught, not able to get killed. Plans everything out. Really enjoy that scene where his friend, the guy is always getting his arm cut off. He's like, yeah, taking the sword and flipping the sword, and it goes like down, shut the freak up. And that scene where you got these humans, the ones that work for these vampires, I forget the term they use for them, but they're pretty much humans that want to be vampires, so they're going to do these dirty deeds to the vampires, get their vampires to turn them into vampires. Or the master vampire turn him into a vampire. I forgot what they called those people. I totally forgot. But basically just describing them as they're humans, that they're doing dirty work for the vampires to become a vampire. Interesting idea. Really interesting idea. And I just like the certain scenes. Like there's a scene where Blake just goes to this this club with like an Asian girl on the stage singing, and there's like a bunch of vampires sitting around in the shadows, and he goes and he's punching guys and throwing them against the wall, takes this security guard guy who's like a human that wants to be a vampire, and like punches him in the face. He's like, where's the passage? And like the guy's like, it's in the fridge. And I like how Blade just sort of turns around like that, and he kicks him, and then he punches him in the face. He's like, I told you, it's in the fridge. He opened up the fridge, it's actually in the fridge. Really enjoyed that kind of creepy scene, that kind of unsettling scene where it's humorous, but it's very weird. It's also very unsettling, where he goes into this basement of the techno, or this club, and when he gets there, he finds this giant blob, dude. And I guess he's sort of running everything backstage, named Pearl, sort of running everything backstage, getting all Frost's plans all set up. And he goes, the Pearl character even goes, what's that? He's like, that biscuit boy is a UV lamp. And the girl, she like fries the Pearl character. It's kind of a unsettling scene because he's like screaming. You see the flesh fall off the bones. And you have a lot of practical effects, but you also do have some CGI, which, the CGI didn't bother me. Honestly, it didn't. I thought it all looked pretty decent for the time, and it didn't bother me. I actually thought it was pretty decent CGI in the movie for the time that this movie was made. 1998 was on a big year for CGI, so to have the CGI in this movie, I thought was pretty good for what it was, Same with Blade 2, it had some CGI, but I really enjoyed the CGI in that movie. I said the one movie in this franchise that has bad CGI is definitely the third Blade movie, Blade Trinity. It has some just really bad looking CGI. It's really bad. And that was made later on, so it should have had better CGI. That was made in like 2004, so, it should have had a little bit better CGI. But, in this movie, you got some great practical effects mixed with CGI. And towards the end of the movie, Blade, the Whistler character, Chris Christopherson, he gets bitten by vampires and almost killed. And Blade, shows up at the base and gives Whistler the gun. And Whistler, you think, shoots himself. But then at the same time, he shows up in Blade 2, so I guess he survived that. And you also do have this other girl, Nobushi Rai, playing Karen. She's sort of this scientist who works with a lot of genetics and cells and stuff like that. And she develops a cure for the vampire. For if you're bitten by a vampire, you can actually get cured. So she actually makes this cure, and she's not really a side character. She's actually involved in the main plot of the story. But really enjoy her character. Just definitely a cool character. Definitely interesting character. She did a great job acting wise as well. And I just love how Blade just goes into this place because they kidnap Karen. They nearly kill Chris Christopherson's character Whistler. So Blade just gets suited up, goes into this building where Deacon Frost is at, and he's just cleaning house. I mean, he's got a shotgun on a motorcycle, and he comes running in and shooting people with the shotgun. There's a scene where he fights these two people and takes this formula that Karen made that could pretty much make a vampire explode. And that crazy scene where he puts these formulas in these two vampires and they implode and then they just explode in a bunch of gory mess. And he goes in this one room and finds his mom. And of course he's shocked by this, and then Deacon Frost comes in and shocks him and knocks him out. Before he gets knocked out, he tells him that Deacon Frost is actually the guy who made Blade what he is. He's the guy who bit his mom. So towards the end of the movie, Blade is captured. Karen, she's put in this sort of lower part of this temple, this ancient temple they're going to summon this vampire god at. And she sort of sees one of her friends. He's like a zombie vampire. And it's definitely a very well shot, very well done scene with the atmosphere and stuff. And, she fights him and punches him and gets out of there. She gets to Blade, who has these razors all over him. They're going to drain his blood. And while they're doing that, the ritual actually completes. And Deacon Frost becomes this vampire god. And, you had that crazy scene where his eyes are red. The blood goes over his eyes, and he's able to just move really fast, and he has these superhuman abilities. It's really, really great stuff. And the Karen character, she gets the Blade character out of these razor trap, and she feeds him, and he sort of regains his strength. And he just goes to town on these people. Takes this guy, definitely the best action scene in the movie, where he takes this guy, rips his throat out, and punches him. Punches this guy right in the face, and the guy's in pain. He just pushes him off to the side. Taking the guy, punch him, and he falls on the ground, and kick it a bunch of times. And he goes, Frost! And kicks him, and the guy flies up in the air. Just lots of really well done fight scenes. Just taking guys, breaking their arms, and boom. You get that great scene where I believe the Karen character, she's got a shotgun, and she's shooting at this girl, takes this garlic out and shoots in the girl's mouth and her head explodes. Just a very, very, very well done action scene at the end of the movie. Just very well done. Definitely hands down the best action scene of the movie. And I have to say, out of these three movies, definitely some of the best scenes are from this movie, but that's definitely one of the best scenes from this movie. The ending action scene, where Blade is beating up all these guys and they're breaking their arms. The Karen character, she gets the glasses off this one guy. Or actually, this guy that keeps getting his arm cut off, he's Deacon Frost. He's Deacon Frost's best friend. He goes up to Blade, I'm gonna kill you. And Blade, I think he decapitates him. And you see the glasses flipping in the air. He just grabs them and puts the glasses on. And that's when the fight scene begins. Just some really, really great stuff. And it basically gets down to Blade versus this vampire god who is now Deacon Frost. And Deacon Frost, of course, sword fights with Blade, but then you find out that, Deacon Frost is a little bit more powerful than Blade. So the fight doesn't really go out for Blade. Gets beat up a little bit. And then you get that great scene where Deacon Frost thinks that this stuff up here is Blade's serum, but it's actually that's what that actually inflates vampires and blows them up. So Blade throws his sword up in this crack, And the sword has this great thing where like these knives come out of the handle, and it breaks and it falls down to his hand, and it goes up to Deacon Frost, and he like stabs him with all these different needles with the formula in it, and like Deacon Frost's character just inflates, and a really really crazy scene where he just inflates to a giant like mutated thing, and then he explodes in a bunch of gore. Definitely a great death scene for the bad guy. And in the movie, it's pretty much Blade and Karen, they're parting ways. You know, Karen's going to go do her own thing, make a cure, and Blade's going to keep on fighting the vampires. And you got that scene at the end of the movie where it's either in like Russia or somewhere in Europe, and Blade goes up to this guy, takes a sword and slashes, and it's the end of the movie. So yeah, I just love this movie. If you guys couldn't tell, I mean, I'm just a really big fan of it. I love the fight scenes, I love the music, I love the way the movie looks, the way it's shot. I really enjoy the style of it, this dark techno feel to it. Blade is definitely a really cool character. A vampire hunter who's also half vampire and half human. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the whole Daywalker aspect. Really enjoyed the ending scene where Deacon Frost becomes this vampire god. Really enjoy that. Just a really, really well-made movie. Definitely my favorite of the franchise. But Blade 2, however, is a very, very close second favorite. Very, very close. I love Blade 2. I think it's a great movie. So yeah, Blade 2, I'll be reviewing that a little bit later on, probably tonight or tomorrow. And it's a very close second favorite of mine. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on Blade 1. And I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.